And you probably already know that the reason a $5 cookie costs as much as it does is because the cookies are individually decorated, similar to decorating a cake. As you can see from the cookies in this diagram, the frosting is different on each of the cookies, and the sprinkles that are added is different from each cookie. So what we're going to do in this video is take a look at the behind the scenes of how we make a $5 cookie, and the cookie that we're going to be making today is going to be a heart-shaped horse cookie. So let's go ahead and take a peek behind the scenes. So our cookies have already been made. These are just ordinary sugar cookies, and the frosting is a confectioner's frosting on top. And we are now going to look at how we're going to make our horse cookies. These are the pictures of the horses that we're going to be putting on the cookies, and they are generated with a special printer specifically made for cookie designing. The printer uses edible ink, and of course the paper as well is going to be edible paper. You can of course make any type of picture that you want, so long as you have the picture on your computer file. Since we are making heart-shaped cookies, we are going to use a heart-shaped template to cut out the appropriate portion of the picture that we want to put on each cookie. So using a kitchen grade X-Acto knife, we can cut around the template and get the exact shape of the picture that we want to put on the cookie. It often happens that the X-Acto knife does not cut all the way through, so scissors come into play to make sure that the cut is complete and clean. So now the picture has to be attached to the cookie, and in order to do this, ordinary corn syrup in the red labeled bottle indicated by the orange arrow on the left of the screen is used, and a simple kitchen brush is used to apply the corn syrup to the cookie. The edible paper that is used for the picture actually has a plastic background to give it rigidity so that it can get through the printer without any problems, so that obviously has to be removed. And now the picture is simply placed onto the cookie and attached by the corn syrup. We can now see what the picture looks like with the picture of the horse on it, but as indicated by the orange arrows on the right and left, we see that the margins are not equal. There's a little bit of spacing that is unequal on both sides, so that has to be remedied with additional frosting. So here we are making the frosting by simply sifting the sugar, and then we'll be adding the water. Now we're using a spatula to test the consistency of the frosting to be sure it's stiff enough so that we get the proper shape on the cookie that we want. And now we're adding the frosting with the spatula to the plastic bag and tying off the top so that there's no air inside, and we get a clean remove of the frosting as we decorate the cookies. We now place that bag into another plastic bag that has a tip at the end as indicated by the orange arrow to give us the proper design that we want for our cookie. In this case, we are going to be using stars to place around the perimeter of each cookie. So each star is placed individually with the frosting dispenser, and this is why the process is very tedious, because going around the entire perimeter, and depending on how many cookies you're making, can be quite time consuming. And now that it's completed, we have our finished cookie. Here are some other examples of some $5 cookies. We've got the back to school cookies here in the shape of pencils and crayons and tablets. And here we have camping cookies. You can see the cookies in the shape of tents or s'mores. And finally, some Olympic ring cookies to give to all the winners in your life.